As famous warships go, HMCS Sackville is pretty modest. Barely 205 feet long and 950 tons, Sackville was hastily built during a wartime emergency with the expectation that she would soon be discarded or lost in action. Sackville was one of 269 Flower-class corvettes built during the Second World War, one of the small ships that won the critical Battle of the Atlantic fought against Germany's U-boats. In the process, Sackville and her consorts laid the foundation of the modern Canadian Navy. She's the last Flower-class corvette left in the world and has been preserved as Canada's national naval memorial. It just so happens that Sackville was named after a New Brunswick town and was built in New Brunswick. Sackville is a genuine original, contract number 2 of over 120 corvettes operated by the Royal Canadian Navy between 1940 and 1945. Only 3 of her class were built east of Quebec, all named for New Brunswick and Nova Scotia border towns, Moncton, Amherst, and Sackville, before the East Coast ports were overwhelmed by repair work. All 3 were built in St. John. Norman Hessler and the entire town council were there on that rain-soaked 15 May 1941 to watch Sackville hit the water. It took many months for the busy dockyard to complete the ship, and she did not commission until 30 December. The town of Sackville sent comfort packages to the ship throughout the war. Sackville had a storied career fighting the U-boats. In 1942, she joined the Newfoundland Escort Force to help convoys cross the North Atlantic. Her experiences that year were immortalized by her captain Alan Easton in his classic memoir, 50 North. Easton dubbed her the Queen, and under his command, Sackville fought in many convoy battles. In July 1942, she engaged 3 U-boats in one night's furious action. One was rammed, one was struck by a shell from Sackville's main gun, and a third slipped away in a fog. For a brief period, it was believed that Sackville had sunk 2 of them, but all made it back to France. In 1943, Sackville joined Canada's first anti-submarine hunting group, EG-9, looking for U-boats off northern Spain in the late summer. Her group was harassed by radio-guided rockets dropped by German aircraft and eventually struck heavily by the new acoustic homing torpedo. HMCS Sackville and EG-9's flagship HMS Itchen were both sunk by the new torpedoes. Sackville had near misses from both new weapons but escaped unharmed. EG-9 was dissolved following the losses. Sackville went to Galveston, Texas in the winter of 1943 for a major refit and emerged with an extended hull, new electrical systems, modern bridge, and powerful new weapons and sensors. The extensive refit ultimately saved Sackville from the scrapyard when one of her boilers cracked and she had to be removed from operations. After a brief period as a training ship, Sackville was converted to a loop layer, a vessel designed to lay down or pick up cables lying on the seabed. The removal of her defective forward boiler created the space needed to store the cables. While all the other corvettes were disposed of, Sackville carried on after the war as a useful auxiliary vessel. Her hull became a testbed for the new system of cathodic protection using electrodes to sharply reduce rust in the hull, giving her added life. Conversion to an oceanographic research vessel, first for acoustic research and then marine life, carried Sackville into the late 1970s. By then, efforts were underway to find and preserve a corvette. Sackville was the last of the many. At a special ceremony on 14 May 1985, a restored Sackville was recommissioned as an HMC ship again and designated as Canada's National Naval Memorial.